Welcome, everyone, to our August 25th Park and Rec meeting. This is the first time since April that we've been able to meet, and we have a quorum. This is pretty exciting. We want to remind everyone that the fire exits, because we usually also don't have guests with us that often. All the guests that we have, the fire entrance and exits in the back, and also we can use the stairs. If you need the bathroom, it's upstairs. We will first, my name is Jim O'Connor. I am the vice chair. Right now, we do not have a chairman. He stepped down. So we are going to have elections next month, right, Dan?
Correct.
So we'll go around and introduce ourselves. But first, we have a new member of our commission. We are very lucky, and I wanted to introduce Bill Nicoletti.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, Bill.
Thank you for the introduction. As you said, my name is Bill Nicoletti. I've been in Orange for about 8 years now, and I'm happy to be part of the commission and volunteer in any way that I can. It's a great town and a lot of nice things here to do. Thank you.
Well, we'll take you up on it. It's always nice to have new members, and especially as a 9-year-old. So that's he'll get to know what's going on in Peck, and
Yep.
we'll enjoy. We've all been, most of us have been in his shoes before, so we're excited to have you. So why don't we start with Jim?
Jim Ronay.
Debbie Davis.
Bill Nicoletti.
Steve Vesputa.
Chuck Stackpole.
Jack Pritchard.
Deb Satonic, Recording Secretary.
Dan Lynch.
And again, I'm Jim O'Connor. I am the vice chair. So we have our agenda. We will have our call to order. Second thing is public dialogue. When we get to public dialogue, please, let's be courteous. Let's stay to 2 minutes, and especially let's make our point. And if we don't comment right then, we will have some dialogue during the meeting about all the discussions. So does anyone want to start the public dialogue? Going once, going twice, I guess not. Okay, so we'll go on. Approval of minutes. So Dan, we have, which minutes are in front of us?
April.
April is the last meeting, so do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Steve, second. I have Deb. All in favor?
Aye.
Any additions, deletions? I didn't see any.
Who remembers?
No, it's been so long ago. Anybody remember? Okay, so we're good. That's it. We already approved it. We're good. No additions, deletions. Let's move on. Old business. Questions from the previous minutes. Obviously, probably Dan's
From the last meeting, I have a lot to go over in my director's report. I will do that at that point.
Okay, so Dan's going to wait till the end. Why don't we go into new business? Hey, Tom, why don't you come up here, Tom, and we can, from the Orange Soccer Association. Welcome, Tom. Thank you for coming, and sorry we didn't get to meet last month. I apologize
No
that we
problem.
couldn't have a quorum, but we're excited to have you.
I'm happy to be here. I'm no stranger to this mic, for those of you that know me well. The real reason we're here, and I don't see it as an agenda item, but we were at the selectmen meeting and we were looking for a approval of a fence between some new construction. And so I really have to go back to you and ask you if that is something that you're prepared to look at. Was there a proposal sent to you for a new fence yet? So that's question number one. Because by the end of the day, we would hope that we can get an answer on that so that the selectmen can approve the funds. Apparently they have the funds and you have the okay. Okay, so we got that straight, because last time around I was told to go to the selectmen and they said to come here. But the question I have before you, it starts with, does anyone here, was this commission, and mind you, I watch every single meeting on OGAT, okay, all selectmen meeting, all of Park and Rec meeting, but was anyone here involved in the construction of the new construction at Fred Wolf Park? Was this commission ever asked about the document that was put together for the construction? Anybody remember that? I didn't see it.
What construction are you talking about?
The new construction. There's a document here. You may not be familiar with it, but I have it in my hand, and it is the document that was produced, put out for a public bid, and the work was done. And this board, I assume, had no input for that?
Well,
I mean,
I'd rather answer that after we, so
Okay.
why don't we do this?
well, I'm
rather
just getting
than-
to a point
Yeah.
that if you didn't, then what had happened at Fred Wolf Park is something that now needs to be repaired because of the construction and because that there was no input from this board. Things were done improperly, and now we have to put a fence up.
Says who?
I'm telling you what happened. That's all I'm giving you is the facts. So right now, we have some work that was done there. We have some $50,000, which was spent on work that was done there, and we don't know what it was, what was proposed there, or what was the ultimate plan. So I'd like this board to get involved. When we went to the selectmen meeting, we were told that you were involved. Much to my surprise, you weren't. So,
Oh, no.
but they now have said, Steve, let me
Steve, you wanna
talk.
Yeah. I brought it up, I don't know, a year or two ago to the commission.
Did you have any input at that point? I mean,
No.
I saw some minutes that we knew, I could have read that in the paper, but this board did not produce this document.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No,
All right, so
they
you
didn't have
had
anything.
no input.
So I could actually give a little bit of an update on that sense. See, so it'd be about 4 years ago. We went and we did an application with the town
Yes.
for a grant to
Yep.
the state of Connecticut. I worked tirelessly with Jim Zioli on trying to get that extension and working. And with when the engineers came back with the wetland, it was really not feasible, and there would be a lot of hoops that we couldn't cover in the grant, and we didn't have those dollars. So then at that point, that grant, because that grant isn't a park and rec grant, that grant still was, I don't know the terms and the acronyms. Jim could probably help me with that. Steve, thank you.
Yeah.
It's actually with the town, that holds with the town.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that we don't have to, even though the grant was written, doesn't mean we specifically have to use it. We can reallocate it if it's appropriate for the same general purposes.
And it was.
And the first selectman had that, and then Steve gave us an update about a year and a half ago. I think what's happened as part of this is COVID. And probably we have not met a lot, but because of timeframes, they've had to move progress and do things on the other level. There's a lot of things that get done in this town. I will speak from the baseball side. Even when we were desperate that nobody, and Jim Renee can talk about this, nobody takes ownership of Brindley and DeGennaro fields. And we didn't have money. We didn't have a lot of input, but we knew we needed to get money. And the first selectman took that and went there. So
Yeah.
that's where the commissions and the interload, there's not always a direct line. And again, we're commission members, and it's very difficult. Is that, Steve, does that represent what you were trying to say well or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then
So,
what we have
yeah,
now,
yep,
we
go
need
ahead.
to repair, because we have some damage done where we can't use one of our fields, and so we need a fence put up, and that's why this board was going
Okay.
to approve that or not. I just wanted to let people know how we got there.
Gotcha. No, I
And-
agree with you.
And does anyone have any idea what the rest of the land was being used for there?
No.
You didn't have any,
Oh, the playground,
you had any input to that?
we talked about it
Yeah.
at previous meetings.
Okay. Well, we need to look at that and look at how much of that playground's being used and where and why, because this board should be empowered. This is the Commission for Park and Rec. Am I talking to the right board?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are talking to the right people.
Yeah.
So therefore, you should have some input into what goes on with playfields.
Agreed.
Okay, because we now have a playfield designed by apparently the town engineer that is unusable at this point. Was that field ever talked about? Did you ever give dimensions for the fields at Fred Wolf Park? Okay.
No, we've never
No.
given fields.
So I
no.
find that mysterious,
Okay.
and I understand from the last selectman meeting that you are empowered to do that, and that you will be doing that. Is that correct?
But we will work with anyone, just like we work with you, Tom.
Yeah.
We don't tell you what size of the fields for the soccer. We didn't tell lacrosse the size of the lacrosse fields. We don't, the baseball, those are determined by, what's needed and what
Yeah.
that's not.
So you will be asking
Yeah,
that before you would build a field,
Yeah.
a play
Yes,
field,
yes.
or
But
practice
I-
field, you would be asking that dimension, would you not?
I don't think it's an all-purpose field. It's not just a soccer field.
It doesn't, of course, not a soccer field at all, but
Well,
it
you
could be-
don't
we
want
could
to
do-
use it? Fine.
No, well, soccer's not going to use that new field that was built,
That's
just
fine.
in case you
Tom.
know. I mean, no, I won't. Someone else
Tom,
can.
can I just intercede here for a second?
Certainly.
I know where you're going here. We're all here to work together. We're not here to
Absolutely.
pick on anybody or in that regard at all. First Selectman Zeoli approached us in July of 2019, okay, with this whole idea
Thank you, Dave.
of this land, okay, that was cleared out. It was talked about with a playground and possible tennis courts and pickleball courts and some parking, small amount of parking. Never was I ever informed that this was a soccer issue. I do understand what you're talking about now with the land being cleared.
It's not a soccer
It
issue.
never was. It never
Yeah.
was talked about being a soccer
It's not a
area.
soccer issue. My problem
Now
was
I understand where you're coming from
Yeah.
with the safety issue that you needed to be a fence. They brought it up at the selectman meeting last month. There's money going to be allocated for the fence, and that's where we're going. I know this is where you're heading, but this is what we're here for. So
Well,
who
Selectman
made
Siri,
these
if he can talk-
decisions and
he
who
can
did
talk
this
for
and
himself.
that? We're not here for that tonight.
Yeah,
but
I'm
that's
sure
what that area was cleared out for.
I'm sure the best of intentions
Yeah.
was to do additional
Yeah.
improvements at the park. I got that.
And not to make excuses, after June and July of 2019, this whole pandemic started. We
Right.
were having no meetings for a while, Zoom meetings, and then we just had a couple months where we didn't have a quorum. It's the summertime. It happens, unfortunately. It's not an excuse, but that's where we stand.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
The one thing I'd like a woman that's been working on this for a while to come up here and at least tell you some of the dimensions that we've been looking at and why this isn't going to work. But, again, Jim can speak for himself. I was being asked to, at some point, move the Sunday soccer program, which all of you may be aware, most of you had kids that played in it, to move to Fred Wolf Park at some point. Well, one thing for sure, 300 kids are not going to play on 1.7 acres of land. I don't know, again, without this Park and Rec Commission involved, I don't know how we came up with 350 by 300. Not that any of you would know that dimension because you didn't give them that dimension. And does anyone know the slope that was given on the new fields? Did anybody, was that discussed here? I don't think so because it said up to 2% of 350 feet. That would be a field that slopes 7 feet. Now, they did a much better job than that. The contract people were fantastic. They went much less. It doesn't slope more than 2 feet, but that was the original. So if you had the original spec, up to 2% on a slope to meet a road. So the planning, because this isn't done through the commission here, is just bizarre. We have a road going through where it shouldn't be going through, and we have reasons for it, which you discussed earlier.
Yep.
We couldn't use the money for a way in. But I really am trying to ask the town, we need a town meeting with this board to come up with what really needs to be done, not unilaterally be told what is being done at Fred Wolf Park. That's just what I'm hearing. The neighbors are incensed by what's going on. I'm surprised half of them aren't here. We do have some people that are interested and want to speak tonight.
And we should. You're right. But one of the things is this board's always worked well with the first selectman's office in general. And I know from not just being a commission member, but also being part of lacrosse. If it wasn't for the volunteer hours and donations from the town, we would have never completed those 2
Absolutely.
fields down in the back.
Yeah, I was there cutting trees.
And the same thing with Brindley and DeGenero was what I was trying. It has to be a lot of give and take between this commission, because
Right.
we're a volunteer basis. We have to trust the people that work day to day, meaning Dan and the first selectman's office.
No, I got
and the
it.
engineer. We have to, and they do communicate with us.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, did we all talk a lot? No, because we were all were isolating.
Yeah,
So we'll do a
I-
better job of that. But the fence is coming.
Yeah.
The
No, okay.
fence is coming.
That's all soccer would be
Yeah.
interested in at this point, so we
Yeah.
can use the field that's there.
It's coming, I promise
But
you.
again, we have other people that
Yeah.
like to speak on this issue. Dee Dee, you want to speak?
Yeah. Come on up. Yeah, welcome.
And hopefully, Park and Rec can get involved. And I do agree that there's been COVID problems and what have you. But even a scoreboard, which is now being purchased for Brindley, you people should decide whether that's an important thing. Instead, the finance director immediately went to the board, got an approval. Do any of you know you're getting a new scoreboard at Brindley?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
We've been talking about that for years.
Yes.
Yeah.
5 years.
It goes back with the light bulbs. You have to go to Long Island to get the light bulbs. Remember? Jim's
The
kept
guy
us.
that
Yeah.
fixes this scoreboard is in Long Island.
Yeah.
And I had to go to one of the, wasn't the Lions Club, it was Rotary
Rotary.
Club. Gave us a donation so that we could get money
Yes.
to have that fixed, and that was back in 2014 or 15.
And it worked for two years for Jim, and then Jim, his children moved on, and then it hasn't worked since. So we know a solution. We had to actually get the fields playable first before we could get a scoreboard. So it's systems. So welcome. Sorry.
Thank you very
Miss, if
much.
you could just state your name
Yeah.
and your address,
Yes,
please.
my
Thank you.
name is Dee Dee Lieboff. I live at 660 Broadview Road in Orange. I've lived there since 1985.
Welcome.
Thank you. I spoke at the July Selectmen meeting. At that time, I had not walked the Fred Wolf Park in its entirety. I had attended the Playground Committee meeting on July 14th and listened to its members speak. I was troubled that Park and Rec was not a part of the playground decisions. Is it not the umbrella committee for the playground? Why were you not part of the decisions regarding placement, size, viability, more importantly, of this playground? Prior to what would have been the Park and Rec July meeting, my husband and I walked the Fred Wolf Park in its entirety. The land allocated for the playground is dangerously situated, and I can show you that because I had this made. I hope you can see it. Here's where the playground is supposed to be. It's upside down. Yep.
You want it that way?
Yeah, well, playground, parking, pickleball, and I only found this out from the last meeting at the Selectmen. But prior to what would have been the Park and Rec July meeting, my husband and I walked the Fred Wolf Park in its entirety. The land allocated for the playground is dangerously situated. If you enter the road, Hollow Road, it abuts the proposed playground area. The road continues to the right, abutting the side of the playground, which is directly across the street from the road from the small and very uneven proposed soccer field. The fact that kids impulsively run across the road from field to playground is only one reason for not locating a soccer field and playground there. Today, I rewalked the entire area of the park because I was greatly disturbed by the area, and this is the area that I'm talking about. I knew nothing about pickleball being put there. I knew nothing about the parking. I knew nothing about the playground. But you see, you enter this way through Hollow Road. You go up here. Here's the soccer field. You're talking about a road where little kids are, both ways. Parking up here. Parking would probably help the playground and help pickleball, but it sure is dangerous for little kids. So we walked it. I walked it today all by myself. I was pretty disturbed by the area where Jim Zioli marked as the playground, parking, and 4 pickleball courts, because it measures 300 feet by 350 feet. Now, I looked up pickleball courts, and they're supposed to be 20 feet by 44 feet. And they should have room separating them. I mean, if you go down to Eisenhower Park, you see they're separated. They would need to provide space for pickleboard and parents supervising and children at the playground. If they had 50 spaces to accommodate pickleball people, parents of kids at the playground and soccer practice field, that would be an area of about 260 feet by 62 feet. You can see where I'm going. So it's not only a dangerous area, but it can't physically accommodate the 3 areas that Jim proposed. I looked into the new business of the Selectmen's April 14th meeting. Number 7 considers a renewal of the license agreement for the rental of a farm field near Meeting House Lane at Fred Wolf Park. I reiterate, at Fred Wolf Park. There were 4 other fields voted on for farms by the Selectmen on the April 14th meeting as well. Is it not time to utilize the town and the parks for the necessary soccer fields and for the playground for the children of Orange instead of farming corn there?
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak on this topic? Jim?
I think I better bring a little clarity for you people. It's a little cloudy what I'm hearing. Good evening, Jim Zioli.
Good evening, Jim.
Yeah, Jim.
You were showing a layout of the clearing properties back in July of 19. It was discussed then that there would be some multi-use grass area and that there would be a playground as 2 parts of that. We weren't sure if we could fit other things into what we cleared. Actually, from the entrance of Fred Wolf Park, where Mrs. Leboff talks of, to the far corner of the house where you can see in the area we cleared, according to the GIS, is 495 feet. Her tape measure maybe is different. There will be, provided it fits, 4 pickleball courts. I spoke with R&S Sports, Sport Courts, who's doing the courts at High Plains, and that was at the advice of Ron, I think his name is Sadik. Is that right, Dan? I think Sadik or Sadlik?
Timmy Sadik.
Okay. That slab up there at High Plains is 120 by 120, would be adequate for 8 courts, and 60 by 120 would be adequate for 4 courts with the separations and spacing. That's not Jim Zioli's measurements. That's from people who do it every day for a living. I had nothing to do with that measurement. The playground, that will fit there. Evidently, there's not going to be any fence or rails there because they're going to drive right in from Hollow Road and drive through the middle of the playground, it sounds like. I find that amazing. Selectman Carangelo found it insulting at the Selectmen's meeting, and I find it still insulting. I drove your children to school, both of you. Do you think for 1 minute I would put a child in harm's way? That's the most ridiculous allegation that I could hear of. There's going to be a timber rail fence along the parking area, and inside of that, once they develop their playground area, there will be chain link fence. That can't happen until after the site work is done, the grading is done, the installation is done. We already explained that to you, yet you come up with the same rhetoric at the podium again because it wasn't good enough at the Selectmen's meeting. It's silly. We would never consider putting a child in harm's way. Never. That would be the dumbest thing that I could do. And to hear it over and over, I just finally, it's enough. There's fence planned along what I call La Crosse Road there. Tom wanted a 12-foot fence where he had a temporary fence installed. There's a piece of land between what is that soccer field and Lacrosse Road. That piece ended up getting cleaned up and the stone wall and all removed at the recommendation of Rick Capsalatro. He wanted to grade that piece of land into that soccer field, knowing there's going to be a fence along the roadway, to give soccer a little more room over there. But unfortunately, Mr. Capsalatro's recommendation was considered not valid either. And after Mr. Pisano's hissy fit over there one day with the Ciolas and then with Bob Brinton, and then I came on the scene, that ended. So it won't be part of their space. He doesn't want it. The other area is about 350 by 280. It's about 280 feet deep currently. If they chose to put 3 tiny tot fields over there of about 75 by 150, there is more than enough room, considering it's 300 plus feet wide as you run along the roadway, and it's 280 feet deep. With a 10-foot setback off of Lacrosse Road, you still have more than adequate space. The children aren't going to be running 300 feet. We're talking little kids, not big kids. If he doesn't want to use it, that's fine. But if you look at that field and you figure field 1, 2, and 3, there's not the slope that he's referring to, but that's okay. They don't want to use it. Eventually, they're going to move from Mary L. Tracy because Mary L. Tracy has a parking problem. So it will be addressed at some point or another because the school has a problem that they need to address. So one has to be solved before the other. The next piece of roadway will be excavated out probably this coming week, and the next 300 feet. There's 300 feet in currently of that new driveway, and the next 300 feet will be going in, the base for it, I should say, in the next few weeks. Eventually, that will come all the way out to Oakview Road, just as we discussed when you were all given the original plans of this. I've heard repeatedly people asking, where's the plan? Where's the plan? Where's the plan? Well, this commission spent $75,000 for a plan. And unfortunately, the Army Corps of Engineers dismantled that plan with some wetland pockets and other problems that went with it. We tried to solve some of them by buying an additional piece of land to build some detention offset basins and stuff, and the people that own it weren't interested in that. So we did look at that. So we couldn't do that road out to Pine Tree Drive, but we tried many options with that. We then went to the state and requested a change of that grant money instead of losing that grant money, since we couldn't do that roadway, for this playground. We got permission from the state of Connecticut, Office of Policy and Management. We talked about it. You guys were aware of it. So pieces have gone together repeatedly on this. There's been no underhandedness, no lack of concern for safety. That the playground committee is also a volunteer committee of people, and that will be something that you will know. It's not cast in stone at this point, but that will also be something that you'll know about and you'll be proud of when it's done. They're doing a hell of a job, and I'm very happy with what they're doing. But the allegations that I just keep hearing over and over and over are just ridiculous. There will be a fence along Lacrosse Road. It's not going out in the middle of a grass lot. It's going to go from where we cut the old piece out and the new piece in, and it's going to wrap around. It's going to be a 10-foot offset from the roadway, so that they can.
5 foot high? You said?
5 or 6.
5 or 6,
Yeah.
okay.
Tom would like 12. I would like 5. He measured the fence out back here and said it's 6, so we'll come up with a fence.
Gotcha.
And that will be the same situation on the other side of that. everything will have fences. And then there's a big piece that comes into it that everybody seems to have forgotten. It's called parenting. Parenting, it's a big thing. Maybe you should watch your children instead of for somebody thinking they're going to dash across a parking lot and just come flying out of a playground into a roadway. Go down to Milford. You went to Milford to look at the pickleball courts. Did you notice when you pulled in there that there's parking on the left for Milford residents? There's a main driveway that goes right down through there. Then Milford put more parking on the other side, and I watched the people crossing back and forth there as cars are coming right in off North Street. Maybe you didn't notice that part. I did, because I went down to see what pickleball was all about, because I didn't have a clue. I don't play it and never have played it. Debbie Davis told me about it. So, I mean, these are the things that have been looked at. We're not doing this just by the seat of our pants because Jim wants something. Jim doesn't have any children. But Jim knows that the town needs another playground because when this one was built, was supposed to be a community playground. Then with Mariel and the changes and problems that happened with up in Newtown shooting and the locking of gates and all, things had to change. So that's why this town needs another playground, because during the day, this playground out here that was supposed to be community is off limits. You're in the education
Yeah,
business.
it's
you
by
know.
law. It's by law. So right now, we don't have during the day for our children that are non-school age right now, whether they don't do, they cannot use any of our playgrounds. They are not allowed. We are not allowed to have visitors right now, especially between COVID and all the new state regulations. So there really is not, for our youngest families, there is not a place that they can use. Plus we don't have a lot of tennis courts. The Peck tennis courts are non-usable.
That's gone.
They're gone. So,
And
we took them out. Nice.
The other issue we have is over at High Plains Playground.
Yeah.
During the school year, the nursery school has
They
rights
rent
to,
it.
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
there from 9 to 2 or whatever. And then during the summer, we're there with the camp.
Yeah, and you
Right.
can't use over there, and then even the
The only
tennis
time
court
you
and
can really use
basketball.
it consistently is on a weekend.
So the selectmen met, and we thought by the time the meeting was over, and Mitch is here, he can chime in on it, we thought we had come to a somewhat amicable solution. The next morning, Tom sends out another email with his pokes and his points as he does. I told him if he didn't want to use that multi-use grass area, there's a Hispanic soccer group from New Haven that had used space out here and were asked not to use the fields, I believe, Dan, one of whom is a resident of town, would be more than willing to pay rent to use that space. He says, I don't know where that came from. He referred to them as Mexicans in the email. I never said that. I know far better than to say something so derogatory. But then he refers to, well, Jim marked up a map with his Flair pen. I used the aerial that Tom submitted to the selectmen so that they would all be on the same page. I didn't use our map. I used what he submitted so that people would see where his fence was, the temporary fence that was put up, where he wants to put a fence, and what we were planning to do. So there's been a lot of misinformations and missteps to it. Jim, you spoke of the lacrosse fields. That was a design build as we went along also.
Yeah.
And that was handled by, largely by Rick Capslatro.
Rick Cap.
And he would go in and report to me and report to Dan as to what was going there. And the town put a lot of money into that. A lot of money. Others put money in too. Soccer put in $10,000 or $14,000. But all well and good. The town of Orange put in probably $100,000, and there was a lot of donated on top of that. So, as you said, we do work and get things done. You had discussion for 5 years of a scoreboard down there. Well, Mr. Pizzato just happened to catch the most recent of it and tries to insinuate as if Mr. Cifarelli did something, some sort of underhanded or incorrect for a scoreboard by going to the Board of Finance for an appropriation for it. You people had started that discussion 5 years ago. Wasn't a surprise. Some of your kids played there when it did work.
He said 14,
Okay,
so that's longer.
longer than that, 7 years.
Yeah.
So, we don't do anything underhanded. We don't do anything that's going to be a jeopardy to the town or any of us individually, whether your group or the Board of Selectmen. We absolutely don't do that. So the Playground Committee is working on their part. They're not complete yet, but it's coming along just fine. There's 72 or 75 acres down there now, and there's still plenty of room to expand for other things over there.
Two things, Jim. Could we get, well, one, could we get maybe one of the committee members to come and give an update to our committee? How about that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they could.
That's one. And then secondly, the fence thing. At least for the one side where we have the temporary, whether it's 6, from the Board of Selectmen committee meeting, I know it's been agreed upon. Can we get that moving?
Already spoke to the 2 different fence companies we use to see neither one of them have gotten back to me with the price quote yet, but they
We'll
will.
move that along. Okay.
Yeah, already did that.
Any other questions from the commission for Jim?
We have to vote on the fence tonight?
Yeah.
You should recognize it.
Yeah. So,
You should recognize it. We're
so-
paying for it, but you should recognize it.
we'll get the ball rolling here.
And it goes right
and
back
we'll
Jim was
look
at that
it.
meeting, so Jim heard us talking about it. He was here.
And I watched, so
Yeah.
I saw it. So we'll add it, we'll add it after dialogue. We'll add an agenda item, okay?
Good,
Jim?
thank you.
The only thing I was going to ask is, as this continues to evolve, this was very, very helpful.
Yes.
To me, because.
Well, you guys got to meet more often.
Well, you're right, and some of us need to stick around a little more often too, but it would be, I like the update. I think it was it's
Yeah.
valuable to me as a resident. It's valuable to dispel rumors and innuendo and all kinds of things that are not necessarily fact on both sides. And it's an apolitical issue in my eyes. This is something that's good for everybody, but it's nice if everybody's in the loop. So if stuff is getting done and there's updates available at our next meeting, it's great to make them public and everybody knows what's going on. And I think that would stop a lot of,
Well, I think you're right.
Everybody's concerned.
Dan was down there through the project. Stephen Besputa was down there more than once or twice. I caught him down there looking at the project, and Debbie and Paul Davis
I'm there
asked to
all the
meet me
time.
down there.
I asked him.
Yeah, and you're down there working.
I'm there all
I
the
was
time.
there tonight. I actually saw Tom drive in, and I drove by Tom on my way here. So I think one of the things that this commission has been very successful is about 7 years ago, we started asking all the youth groups to give us updates once a year at least, if not multiple times, so that baseball, we could stay hand in hand. This is a new group, if we can get them in here, because this is going to take them time, and we could be part of it. Remember, in our plan, a playground was in the ultimate plan. Our problem is we've had to move everything around. From even the original lacrosse fields, the first edition, are not in the location that we had on our master plan. Nothing is really in its exact master plan. So we've had to adjust it because of the roads. In the end, we are working toward the end of the roads. The roads are really what hinders us,
Yep.
and we have to keep working towards that.
Absolutely. And you need to remember, same as Little League pays for a bunch of stuff down at Old Tavern Road, and, there is some rentals there, some the town gets out of that from other users. Amity is a supporter down there also. Orange Soccer Association has over $200,000. You're paying for all the grass, all the line painting, all the water, everything over there. Their fund that's designated, listed with the IRS, is just about $212,000. It's probably more than that. Their new report hasn't been filed yet. But, so you need to remember that when you're working on these things. There needs to be a little give and take, and there's money available to offset some of your costs also.
Gotcha.
They do pay for the fertilizer and spraying and that part of it, but that's, one piece of it.
Yeah.
So we pay for it on a lot of other places.
Yeah, you do.
So, Just a
get it.
thought.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
So I think that's a great point, Jim. Jim Rooney. Yeah,
All right, we need a meeting to
okay,
finish up here.
yeah.
One additional comment. Good news, just to finish up, there's good news for Fred Wolf Park. We have found out that we can enter through Hemlock Peck Road. There was no agreement that we couldn't, and so that land would be the optimal place to put future soccer fields. Right now, you're trying to put all this that you're seeing on the drawing in 2 acre on one side, it's a little less than 2 acre, and maybe 3 acre on the other side. You have 15 acres that you can immediately access. So I'm just saying, we had the rumor and the urban legend was that we could not enter. We did talk to the selectmen, we did talk to the neighbors. You can enter through Hemlock and Little Peck, as we call it, road. Actually, farm equipment is coming in and out of there almost on a daily basis. So that's open to us now, and that was my concern overall for the park. For those of you that don't know, I was here before the park even was involved. So it's near and dear to my heart that it is done properly. So pardon my passion, but the park wouldn't be there if I wasn't involved in this. And now I want to see it to fruition, and I don't want to make a big mess out of it, okay? Just a point. And anyone, feel free, anyone watching this, call me, 203-609-1392. That's my cell number, and we can discuss all the issues. I have the history, I have the ERT reports, I have the land reports. There's enough information to tell you what I need to do. And I have minutes from 1996.
Okay.
So let's discuss it.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for all the input. Yes, Jim?
I'm going to stay right here, because I'm now going up to my office, but just so you know, Tom made that same statement at the selectmen's meeting, and so far I've heard from 4 other neighbors over there that said they're absolutely not in favor of opening that narrow road up for a driveway into any sort of major activities over there. That was just since our selectmen's meeting.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on. If we have any other comments, thank you, everyone, for your comments. We still have now grounds and facilities. Steve?
The parks crew is out working. The fields are resting, I hope. And,
Well, an old tavern.
yeah. I have nothing else.
Thanks, Steve. Anybody else have anything to add on around? Because we haven't had any updates in a while, obviously. Personnel, Dan's going to give an update in his report about personnel. Budget, let's take a quick look. If everyone can just look at the budget. We know we don't have a budget, but now that we have our members, I would really like, because I think even Jim made a motion that we used to have somebody that would at least look it over, give some thoughts and opinions, and give us some suggestions. Anybody that's a numbers guy, yeah, our financial background. We really, this we look over and we really just are superficial. And I just take any suggestions, and Dan and I try to work through it. That's the way it's been with Joe Lembo too, the same thing. But if anyone wants to take it over, especially with committee assignments after we do elections next month, we'd love to have somebody. I'm not a personnel expert, but I've been the personnel rep for many years. So that's just a point of reference. Anything on budget? Anybody see anything or any discussions? Otherwise, we'll move on.
This is the beginning part of the budget year, so.
Yeah, we have money right now.
Yeah, everything looks good on our end in that regard.
That's great. We usually, Dan and his team do a wonderful job of managing our budget. We've been cut a number of years in a row, not major amounts, but little amounts. But we do get supported within the capital budget, as you can see, the tennis courts and other peripheral ways by Ralph Oakenquist group. So we are supported, so we're lucky. So why don't we move on now, Dan? You're up. Why don't we move to the director's report?
Yep, you got it. I got a list. I'm just gonna read off my list, go through the whole report here. I got a lot of things to go over. Got to go over the summer. Got to go over some things that we had that I needed to go over in the past months. As you all know, you were updated every month, 1 or 2 times, with thorough, detailed emails, phone calls, et cetera. So everyone has been updated here. I know that wasn't a norm for this commission, not to meet. It just happened for a few months. We just didn't have enough people here. Like I was telling a couple of people before the meeting, there were some months where we had 1 person attending. I mean, it just happens. Sometimes in the summer, I always said, the summer months, and then as we get closer to the holidays, it gets a little rough. But we're back on track, and I'm gonna go through everything here now. If you have any questions, you can ask me at the end. We concluded our summer programs on Friday, August 13th, 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, we got through with a fantastic summer camp that we were able to offer to our residents, and there are non-residents that use the program as well. Fantastic 2 years. This year, again, I was just telling Jim before, 1 camper in the day camp and 1 camper in traveling teens had come down with the virus right at the end of the camp. So nobody was affected, nothing. But we almost got through 2 years. Well, we did. We got through 2 years without any issues. And our staff is to be commended. Steph Middleton, our camp director, is outstanding. We were able to run Traveling Teens program this year. Last year, we were not able to. Mike O'Brien is our coordinator, and his staff did a wonderful job. Sue, who is our aquatics director, is now a jack of all trades in our office. She did a lot with the summer camp. I have to thank her as well. She did a lot with our arts and crafts, as well as maintaining all our aquatics issues during the summer with lessons and swimming down there with their lifeguards and instructors. And also Lynn Plaskowitz, our administrative assistant. She does a lot more than just an administrative assistant. She's another jack of all trades, was outstanding. All 3 of them outstanding all summer with that summer camp, and they make my job a lot easier as the overseer of all of these programs. I can't thank them enough. And all of our staff, our camp staff, our traveling teen staff, our office staff, the maintenance and custodial staff in our building, our park staff, they do a lot. Our grounds crew does a lot for us in the summer as well. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. You know, we talk about things that might not have been said or not been reported or whatever, but we do a lot behind the scenes that goes unnoticed. And these people here that work for us in the summer and throughout the whole year and through this crazy year and a half, they deserve a lot of credit and a lot of accolades, and I can't thank them enough. So that's my report on the summer camp. Stephanie Middleton will be here next month to give us a report on the camp, how it went, numbers-wise, activities, et cetera, and we'll go over that next month at our September meeting. Our park staff is busy. Things have winded down, obviously, down at Old Tavern with the field maintenance, maintenance around town, all the activities that we are continue to have on the fairgrounds and our pavilions, town events, pavilion reservations, town functions, the garbage, it just doesn't end. These guys work hard. It's been hot, and another crew that you got to give thanks to. Jim reported on it. Jim Zioli reported on it, and I've reported to you guys as well. The tennis courts are still being repaired. The striping of the courts is set to be done very soon, by the end of this month, early September. I can't wait for it to be done, and everybody will be happy. We've been waiting for this, and things take time. They take time, and it's a lot of money. And again, thanks to our Board of Selectmen, our first selectman, for getting this going as well. All right. There is an aquatics report in here as well. We are closed down right now, the pool, for maintenance, our annual maintenance. The pool will open back up on Tuesday, September 7th, with a fall swim schedule, the day after Labor Day. All right. The ARAC group in Amity High School will begin their practices when we reopen. They're happily coming back, and they'll hopefully have successful seasons as well. Programming wise, quickly, I'll go through some highlights. Our men's softball league, tonight was the championship game for our Wednesday night league. And we had to cancel, obviously, Monday because of all the rain. The championship game will be held this coming Monday. Last year, we were only able to have the softball league on Monday night only due to the pandemic and lack of interest. We were able to bring 2 nights back this year, 6 teams. This is probably where we're going to stay for a while with the league. The leagues ran well. And again, the championship game is Monday for the Monday Night League. You got some numbers here for camp, day camp and traveling teens. We'll go over that more next month in the summer camp report. Again, thank you to all. You see all their names and all their titles, and I can't thank them enough as well. And again, our fitness room now through this whole pandemic is now open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. It's worked out good for the time that we've done this. Basically, the fitness room is open when our office is open. When we were open on the weekends and late nights, there was always issues. I mean, we had staff in there, but then there was problems with the heat, say, or the air conditioning or whatever, or, you know, we weren't able to get staff in there for that weekend. This has worked out. When I first started working here in the early 2000s, I know that's a long time ago, but that's when we used to be open. I mean, not using pandemic as an excuse, but this, we're able to control it more. There's always somebody around. God forbid something ever happened there. It's just better off for us right now, and that's the way it's going to stay for a while. Fitness room will be open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. And get your memberships in the office if you haven't done so already, or you want to renew. Same thing with the pool. And we're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30.
I think that's a good decision and very appropriate.
Yes, for this time,
Yeah,
right now.
and I think let's
And
continue that.
obviously, the majority of our members are elderly, senior citizens of the town. And it's just worked out a lot better.
And it's used, and it's a great
Yes,
option.
as
so-
well as the pool.
Yeah.
And the pool has their hours, you know, we have the hours in the office, it's online. If you ever have any questions in regards to the hours and how
And now,
how
you
it
know,
runs.
and now you can also, we didn't really have a big meeting, but, you know, the locker rooms, we never had like a grand opening.
No.
But we did, right before COVID, we finished up a fantastic refurbishment of the locker rooms and some additions to the HVAC and the roof, a little bit, some repairs
Yep.
at the pool. And that's
the wing.
And the
yeah,
whole
and the
classroom
wing.
too.
You guys, if you haven't gotten by there, it's maintained its essence of orange, but it's really been upgraded and usable. And you should get around. It's a great use.
The women's locker room is outstanding.
Yeah. So
And this summer was the first summer we were able to use that
Yeah.
wing.
Either.
Because last year, we were all spread out. We could only use very little of it. And also, we really haven't been able to use the locker rooms.
Yeah.
Because last year and this year, with all the rules and regulations, it's not safe for all the kids to be in the locker room. So we were using the outdoor
Yeah.
bathrooms for the summers. Kids go in there, get changed, they walk right into the pool. It worked out fantastic. So those locker rooms, which have been done for almost 2 years
years.
now,
are brand new.
except for our members, have hardly even been used. You walk in there and they're brand new, which is, it's nice, but, you know, you got to adapt to things. And
Yeah.
with the kids in the camp, that's what we had to do. So we do it. We have brand new locker rooms and a brand new classroom wing there that, you know, it's fantastic, and it works out great for the camp and for everybody involved. Couple other quick things. As we hopefully head to normalcy, we are getting requests for, you know, events that weren't able to be held last year or in past, you know, last year or in that regard. But the Chili Run is coming back. They're going to have it again this New Year's Day, and they're just asking, this is one of those events that we automatically approve. They don't have to show up here and give their whole spiel, but that will be held on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2022. All proceeds going to the Amity Teen Center, and just Jane Opper always asks for our approval and to give us a heads up on it, and
Yeah.
it's a go. It's one of our automatic
Yeah.
approvals that we do.
It's exciting.
Each
to
and every
have
year,
that.
it's nice to have it. It's good that they're having it again. And we're happy to recommend that to approve it, so that's good. Also, this is how, I met with Mrs. Novicki in June. They're going to be doing the bicentennial commemorative bricks around the gazebo. The Chamber is planning a beautiful installation of bricks around the gazebo at High Plains Community Center. I have all her information here. I will send it to you. If you're interested in it, there is an email address. It's buy an engraved brick in honor of family and member of loved ones or pets, a local volunteer, birthdays, weddings, graduations, anniversaries, or your company or organization. It's to commemorate the bicentennial celebration in 2022. So if you're interested in that, I have all the information here, and I will give you more updates as we go along with that. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Commission member, any questions? Okay, no, I think it's a comprehensive, update. Thank you, Dan.
Yes.
And we did, and I think we speak for everybody. Ditto. The workers were fantastic, in your department. Everybody has gone above and beyond. I forgot that one of the things that we never really got to discuss is our assistant director of activities position, 2 years right during the beginning of COVID was lost. And that position now, everybody else in the office has had to pick up those responsibilities. And I think that's what they're talking about. Sue and Steph and everybody has stepped up and done a wonderful job with that loss of position because of tight budgets and making difficult budget decisions, which we have to do.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
we want to applaud you, Dan, and I'm sure the commission would second that you guys have done a phenomenal job so far. Still more things to go, though. We're not done yet.
And just for everybody at home too, all our fall information will be out by the end of this week. Registration will start after Labor Day for the fall activities, and it'll be online by the end of this week, and there'll be copies in the office as well. Any questions, you can always call the office or email us or whatever, and be happy to give you all the info. But we got a lot of stuff planned that we're able to do. There are some things still up in the air, just like the use of the schools. I don't know. We're still in contact with the Board of Eds. It could affect our youth basketball league again, but those decisions are coming soon, and we'll have all the info out very shortly.
We're still waiting so that everybody knows the schools are still waiting for guidance.
Correct.
From the state. We haven't gotten, I know that they were meeting today actually about chorus for schools. So there's going to be some redefined guidance. So we'll be getting guidance over the next 2 weeks, and those will trickle down out to the people that use the school facilities. So we're really on the back end. I know that from being on the front end of that. So we're gonna have to do we wanna do an F for new business. We need a motion to add in safety fence at Fred Wolf Park. Is there anyone that, okay, why don't you go ahead and speak your motion, Jim, of how you want it stated?
We'll make a motion to support installation of a safety fence, 5 or 6 feet, whichever is consistent with the rest of the facility.
You sure Mike's on?
Oh, sorry. Make, I mean, around the newly constructed.
Where the temporary fence is right now.
Correct.
To replace the temporary fence, right?
Correct. Yeah,
In this area here.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know if I could put in this area here in the
Yeah,
motion.
no.
So we gotta say in the newly constructed field
In the
and
new-
where
yes.
the temporary fence currently exists.
You comfortable with that wording?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Deb,
that's
did you get
fine.
that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yes, Linda.
one fence right now, right? We're talking about this one fence right here.
Yes.
Just that one, yeah. That's the
now.
only one we're doing right
There's gonna
now.
be others there too. but for the-
Right now, we're just doing that one for the fall, so the fall soccer could get goings on the regular fields that already existed so that they can get going.
But it was extended, the field, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So that's good.
yeah.
Okay. Linda, question?
Yes, I have a question. Are there gates included in this fencing?
Not,
Not-
there's no, the way
Mike, Linda?
that, the way that it sits right now, Linda, there's a temporary fence that runs parallel to the road, and there's no way,
Need.
there's no need for a gate
So-
currently, in its
No,
current state.
In this phase of fencing,
If
this
it's
is one
connected to more
phase.
fencing and connected to a barrier on either end, there will have to be a gate, but right now, there's no
And
need
the
for
topping of
a
it,
gate.
Jim?
Pardon me?
The topping of the fence?
Top.
I know my kids, they'd be climbing right over it.
Well, I mean, I guess we could put that in the motion, or we could just,
We'll
we
recommend.
can
Yeah,
recommend that they
design.
put something on it to, like they have at the baseball field, they have the yellow topping, and they have something which would keep people from climbing theoretically. I mean, I've been known to hop a fence or two in my day, but.
Yeah, it was a long time ago for me. Okay, so let's try to keep let's keep the motion simple.
Yeah.
Deb, can you read the motion so that
Yeah.
then I could get a second?
James Ronay made a motion for the installation of a safety fence approximately 5 to 6 feet in height at Fred Wolf Park to replace the temporary fence that is around the newly constructed field.
Perfect.
I'll second it.
Steve with a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. So, and then I will go to the first selectman meeting, and I'll report back to you if there's any questions or thoughts. I think, so let's, I think the first thing what has happened is now, we know everyone here cares about this town. And I think one of the things that's been is we haven't been able to meet and we haven't been part of this. And one of the things that I take as the vice chair is we've always been part of everything, and I have to do a better job at that. And I'll take responsibility for that. And I think we could be a conduit for that. Tom has put a lot into this town, and we appreciate soccer, and we appreciate everything that Tom's done. Jim has put a lot into this town, supported a lot of things, and we appreciate everything that Jim has done. And we have to work together for the safety and well-being of all of our kids. And Dan is that conduit. So we have a lot of great people, and I think what we have to do is listen and be open to feedback, and we have to dialogue, and we have to help each other. And everyone's allowed to have a different opinion, but we have to come to a position where we as a commission, I think that's what we've never been. Joe Lembo always sat at this, and he taught me. And I was on the committee that hired Dan, so I've been on this committee for a long, long, long time. And he always brought that we were an apolitical group, meaning that we're here for the kids. And that's what we are about. And that's what Tom and Jim and Rick Cap, they do things on their own time that they never want to get patted on the back, but everybody has their thoughts of how to do things. It's our job also to vet through some of those, come to an agreement. So that's my position and my thoughts. And to close, anybody else have any thoughts about that? I mean, we just want to help.
We just have to communicate.
Yeah.
Lack of communication is the root of most problems in the world. So
Yeah.
if we would just communicate and be open, I think
Agreed.
we'll be fine.
I think
Yep.
the fact that we're all here tonight.
Yeah,
It says a lot,
It's the
too.
beginning.
Yeah.
I know.
And we will be here from now on.
Yep. Yep.
And we're going to be part of this solution. And if we need to be, we'll make some tough decisions. We've never frayed away from tough
No.
decisions as a commission. So we've had to make some over time. We appreciate everyone in attendance. Your information was valuable. I didn't know all the information, and public voice is important. We always don't have enough of it, and we love that. So. We will, can I get a motion for adjournment? Linda, a second. Jim? All approved? Aye. Have a good night.
Good night.